Welcome to the Wolff Den, presented by Winnigan Academy. I am Matt Wolff, founder and CEO of Ticket Time Machine. Today we have Lindsey Roberts joining us
Hey
on
guys.
the Wolff Den, live in location from Cater Source and the special event trade show floor. So we're doing something new here. But welcome to the Wolff Den, Lindsey. How's everything going?
It's going great. Thanks so much for having me, Matt. Super excited to be here. Was so glad when you asked to be on, so it's going great.
Yeah, looking forward to talking about a lot of different stuff. But for those of the audience who doesn't know who you are, just give us a quick introduction and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, so my name is Lindsey with Integrass Sports. We are a specialized sports technology and consulting partner. We work in everything from the NGB and amateur space all the way up to professional teams and leagues. Anything sports technology, there's a very good chance that we've done it. Everything from back-end databases to predictive analytics. Like I said, small organizations of only a couple thousand members all the way up to USA football. So we cover the full gamut, and that's pretty much what we do.
Yeah, how long have you been with Integrass?
So I actually started this division with them about 4.5 years, actually. We are a subsidiary of a larger tech company. We are a global company. And it kind of started out with this tiny $2,500 project with USA Hockey. And it just happened to be a sports project. 4.5 years later, we do well into six figures a year with them, if not more. We are their primary technology partner. I think it was like rebranding like a very small mobile app. And it just kind of word of mouth through that industry. We decided we had a lot of success with it. And, sports technology is very niche. There's a ton of development companies out there, but the longer I've been in this industry, in this segment of it, the more I have learned just how unique it is. And it kind of took on a life of its own. And here, 4.5 years later, here we are.
So let's talk, technology is very broad, right? Give us some examples of what technology means to Integrass and how it applies, use cases.
I think our perspective is a little unique in the sense that we're not a point solution driven company. What I mean by that is we're not responsive to, reactive to a need immediately. We try to not only meet immediate needs, but we look in a long-term strategic pathway for all the organizations we work with. For us, technology obviously is meeting immediate needs. It's providing them what they need from an operational and fan engagement standpoint. But it's also providing them growth opportunities and helping them meet their growth metrics. We do have a product suite that is primarily used by NGBs. For anyone who doesn't know what an NGB is out there, it's very timely. Team USA. So an NGB is a national governing body. So the Olympics that are starting on Friday, all of those are national governing bodies. They're all part of the Olympic Committee, but they are nonprofits. So we have product suites to help them with their core functionalities, and we do a lot of custom work as well. Everything from mobile apps, databases, a lot of predictive analytics. It's a very big trend right now in sports tech.
And how did you get into this world?
I just got really lucky being a nerd who loves sports and somehow finessing someone into paying me to do it. I started out, I have a technical background doing a lot of statistical analysis, and it just so happened I was in the right place with the right company, and this opportunity to be in the sports world worked. For those who don't know, I'm in swamp country right now, but go Noles. I am a diehard Seminole. So I've always loved sports. I played collegiate volleyball. I played for Florida State. It's always been a big part of just my passions. So it was just a great opportunity, the right time, right place, I guess.
I think you're in night country, not swamp country.
This is although actually right now I'm working from home. I am Volusia County, so I'm starting to get a little bit up there. Yeah, I'm up in DeLand right now. So
yeah, no, we have a nice pipeline for football in that area.
Sure. Yeah. Well, my little brother actually, he played baseball for UCF and he went to UCF. So love the Knights, I will say, but you and me, Matt, house divided over here.
Yeah, there's no. I told my wife went to University of Miami. I said there's no house divided.
Ooh.
This is a Gator house. She's more of a professional sports fan, but yeah, you would never catch me wearing a house divided or putting anything house divided in my house or anywhere there.
I'm 0 for 2 with you guys, man. We got a Miami fan and we got a Gator. Like, I cannot go into your household.
It's funny. I don't know. I don't know who I probably root for Miami to beat FSU, but I really hate Miami. So it's tough. It just depends, I guess, who's doing better at the time. That might be it. But everyone, I think you guys probably hate. Well, that's a tough one too. As far as they might hate Miami more than the Gators. I don't know.
I mean, I'd probably have to go UF just because that's really, I think, like the true rivalry.
Yeah.
But most importantly, let's all hate Alabama.
Yeah. We had Alabama. Alabama football. I don't mind some of their
Alabama football.
And softball. I don't really like their softball program either.
That's very specific. What's the story behind that?
Well, I know they beat the Gators a few times, and I don't know.
Oh, so you're a guy who holds grudges on, huh?
Yeah, I think you have to. When you were in school, you said you were a technical person. Is that sort of what you studied for and what you envisioned doing once you graduated?
It is. And the interesting thing is, I mean, I'm not really in any of that capacity anymore. I have a statistics degree. I did a lot of projection modeling and logistics. I'm now on the business development side of it. Now I'm pretty much 100% client facing. I never thought this would be what I'd be doing. If you'd asked me when I was graduating from college or in my spring semester of my senior year of college, never in a million years would I have said this. Never would I have ever told you that I would have had a meeting that was on the 50-yard line of the Tampa Bay Bucs Stadium at Raymond James. Like, never could I have imagined this. And I really am so grateful because I'm sure you feel this way. I genuinely love what I do. I never dread going to work. So I feel very lucky, but no, I would have had no idea.
It's funny. I talk about this all the time. Like the weekend, I love my weekends, but I do look forward to Monday because that's when business happens. And you know, as before, it was like, all right, it doesn't matter to me because I'm working for someone else, but it wasn't necessarily doing something I really wanted to do. So it's great to be able to, work in the environment and the industry that you want, doing stuff that is I think it's meaningful in certain ways. Obviously, everyone has a different opinion of what's meaningful for them, but it's a tough industry to get into. A lot of people want to get in, not a lot of people leave, and it's not as glamorous as it always is, but still they'd rather be doing that than something else. So how big a company is Integrass?
So we're about 125 people. We are global. So we've got offices in Hyderabad, India, and Trichy. We have one in Colorado Springs, which is also Olympic City, do a ton of work with NGBs. We also have a Sydney, Australia office, and our global headquarters are in Lake Mary, Florida, just north of Orlando for anyone who's not familiar with Central Florida. Yes, I mean, we're growing very, very quickly. I will say something that I feel so privileged to be a part of is being a part of something at its inception from its growth. I mean, as someone, who's built your own company, who made that decision to go be your own boss and chase your passion and make it happen. It's a humbling experience. I never thought there would be so many sleepless nights in my life, but it's amazing. I work with an amazing team. We are a minority women-owned company, which is incredibly, incredibly cool. Our managing partner, Aarti Rajagopalan, and her husband, Vijay Krishnan, they are amazing. I know it's really cliche sounding, but it genuinely is a family. And I just, I feel very lucky for how fast we're going, we're still kind of almost in startup mode in the sports division. And I know that you know that feeling well. We're small and big at the same time. So it's kind of an interesting.
I was going to say, you have some high profile partners, customers, but I don't know everyone calls them different. I hated calling people clients. I always call them customers. Some of them are partners, but sometimes they're a customer. It's nothing wrong with being a customer. There's some great customers. Everyone wants to call it clients. For me, a client is, law, right?
It does. It has no legal vibe for whatever reason, stuck to it. And there's nothing wrong with it. I usually say partners. For me, I guess I always use the term partner because it's a very, very rare that we work with an organization only on a single project. We generally tend to continue working with them. So it really is a more long-term engagement or partnership. So to me, that's just kind of more applicable. But
I think it's, I always have this conversation because we have a lot of business development and sales people, partnership in its true sense. And I wrote a LinkedIn article about the difference between sponsorship and partnership, but it's like working together to put something out there, using your resources and sharing the revenue. So you could, there's partnership aspects of it, but at the end of the day, they're paying you to do work for them, right?
Absolutely. But this is where I will say it's an indirect revenue share, I would say, because one of the biggest things, perfect example I can use, USA Hockey. when we're designing systems, we are designing things to meet growth metrics. So we're increasing. NGBs are membership driven. They don't have, it's not necessarily fans like a professional sports team. It's members, it's people who are playing, it's parents. Growing their membership, obviously there's membership fees associated annually. So that really is growing. If we're able to design a system that helps grow their membership, whether that's upping their web presence, making things just easier, faster, auto renewals, all the things that we put in. So I would argue there is like an indirect revenue share there. Because if they're growing, then they're making more money too. Even though they are nonprofits, they still have to drive their revenue member growth.
Right. And where are you? You're in biz dev. What are you working on? Do you have a specific industry? Do you have a specific type of organization? Obviously, you talked about the NGBs, but is that solely what you're focused on right now?
No, and that's a really good question. So one of the big things that we're working with right now is we've had the opportunity to meet with a lot of Special Olympics organizations. The way the Special Olympics works is there's 53 of them. California is split into Northern and Southern California, and then DC has its Special Olympics DC area.
You're in Orlando next year.
Yes, the USA Games. I wanted to plug that. Tom Bizignano, who is one of the executives on the planning committee for that, he is a longtime family friend. Him and his team are absolutely phenomenal. I've had the pleasure of speaking with some of them. He's an incredible guy. Maybe someone you should definitely talk to. I
talked to Adam Boliek in.
I know Adam.
Adam's going to come on
Hey,
Wolff Den. And I know we're trying to work with them in other ways. I'm definitely going to get involved somehow personally and with Ticket Time Machine because it's just such a great cause. It's a great cause.
I'm so glad to hear that. I've actually had the pleasure of meeting Adam professionally. He's great. Like I said, hey, Adam. Actually, tonight, Mike Sunners, my director, and I were actually attending a Special Olympics Florida fundraising dinner tonight. But it's such a great cause. So we're doing a lot with that now. And really, we kind of looked at that and said, one, the USA Games are going to be in our backyard next year. So that's just from a location standpoint, we're right here. Two, Olympics are on everyone's mind, it's a great time. I don't think people realize how far in advance a lot of this planning goes into things. And here's a perfect example while still keeping it, PG. I don't know if you've seen the whole joke about the cardboard
beds.
And that is a total fake news, totally. That contract was awarded to Airweave 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So that, but it's funny that people don't realize, they plan Olympics and the USA Games and the Paralympics, they start planning them 8 years in advance.
Oh, yeah. They get awarded very early.
Yes. They actually, I think, have the host cities out through 2032 or something.
Well, it's in LA in 28. And then,
it's LA, it's Paris, LA, and then they've got at least 3.
Yeah.
It's but that's just my favorite example. People are saying those are because of COVID.
It's still terrible, regardless of what the reason is.
The beds?
I guess, yeah.
So, see, I've actually not heard. So I've had the opportunity to speak with a lot of, we work with a lot of NGBs. Half their teams are in Tokyo right now. And they are all very sleep deprived. God bless them with everything going on. I don't envy the position they're in, but apparently they're actually very comfortable.
Are they?
And they are built to sustain 445 pounds of ballistic weight and 550 pounds of static weight. So they're actually, and the whole thought process behind it. And I do think this makes a lot of sense because Japan is such a world leader and innovator in sustainability. They require between the Olympics and Paralympics 18,000 beds. So imagine 18,000 metal bed frames. The Olympics has actually gotten a really bad rap in the past for creating a ton of waste, both from the traffic, the pollution, the litter, the resources that are, those beds are used once and then what? So the whole thought process behind it was that it can be recycled into other paper goods once the games are over. Everything from the mattress itself to the frame is completely recyclable. So just a little fun fact for everyone. That's my favorite thing.
It's interesting because I didn't read a whole about it. I was just talking to my friend last night and he mentioned it. He's there so they won't have sex or something like that. I'm like, it's ridiculous. First of all, they're going to find a way to have sex anyway if they want to.
They're gonna find a way. And my favorite, there's actually a video. I want to say it's an Irish. He's on the Ireland's men's gymnast team. He made a video debunking it because the whole thought was, oh, they're not meant to have a lot of movement. He got on that thing and was doing toe touches, jumping. It's perfectly fine. But it is kind of amazing how quickly that took on a life of its own. And next thing it's all over Twitter. I'm like, what?
Everyone's a newscaster on Twitter.
Oh, I actually literally asked someone with the USOPC, I'm like, is this true? And they were like, no. I had the inside ability to do that. I was like, okay.
Yeah. So who do you have, what kind of impact do you have on the Olympic Games if you're working with Team USA in a lot of different ways?
So the NGBs, while they all are part of the Olympic Committee for the most part, they operate as completely, autonomous organizations. The way USA Hockey versus, USA Cycling versus USA Water Ski, they all operate completely independently of one another.
Right.
Obviously, because their sports have, such wildly different nuances, the way it's structured, all those different things. So when we're working with them, we're working at that organizational level. And oftentimes that will trickle down into their districts, affiliates, all of their, from the top all the way down to the club level of their organizations. A lot of the thing that we do with them is a lot of platforms. I think in terms of the NGB work we're doing, it also goes hand in hand with, if I had to say one of the most rewarding things we do, is we have a learning management system that, unfortunately, as I'm sure you and a lot of people know, after the 2016 Olympics in Rio, it came to light that there was very long-standing and significant sexual abuse that had been taking place within the USA Gymnastics organization. Yeah. And I will commend that organization that when that came to light, they did take action. Obviously, there was a lot of things that could have been done very, very differently. But as a result from that, the U.S. Center for Safe Sport was created in 2017. That's a federal regulatory and oversight agency that every single NGB has to provide sexual abuse training to its coaches, athletes, officials, volunteers, and not just prevention, but in recognizing potential signs of sexual abuse. It regulated and mandated how frequently background checks had, how frequent background checks had to be, all these things that it was a long time coming. So we built this LMS system and we integrate with, the Safe Sport required training. That's a great feeling because that's being directly part of a technology for a social justice move that I think is really important. Protecting the integrity of sports and particularly children's ability to participate in sports safely. So that's probably one of the most rewarding things I've gotten to do. And that was in the NGB space, getting to create those platforms to make sure that all the athletes are safe. So
I think that, the biggest thing for me is just people not allowing it, not the victims. There's always people who know that this stuff is going on and they kind of just let it go. That's, you can have all the training in the world. Doesn't matter. If you see it going on, see something, say something.
If you see it,
the enablers are the ones who really have done maybe even more damage because they're the ones who could have put an end to it.
I would totally agree.
You can't rely on the victim to come out and report. It's just the environment. It's just they could do a whole nother show on that, but you can't rely on a victim to report.
Well, and that's one thing that I think Safe Sport, the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, is doing really well. They're training volunteers, parents, coaches to recognize signs that a child might be being sexually abused, changes in behavior, things, because to your point, oftentimes these are minors. Two, they are being victimized. They are dealing with trauma. They are dealing with all these things. It's training their support system to recognize that they need help, even if they can't ask for it. So I think that's a really important thing that they're doing.
Especially in USA, when you're talking about Olympics, there's so much on the line that it's, you almost do what, and it doesn't even have to be sexual abuse. It could be you just want to do whatever will put you in top of the coach's mind. So it doesn't even have to be sexual. It could be anything. Hey, get me a coffee, whatever it is. It's all, but obviously sexual abuse is a much deeper issue.
These athletes, these are the world's most elite athletes. You are literally competing at the most elite high performance level that you can get to. The Olympics are the goal, I think, for pretty much any athlete. That is I think
it's not as much. You see people dropping out. I feel like that's changed a little bit. I would probably argue that it's definitely not what it used to be. And I don't know if it's just the COVID stuff, but even you saw from 4 years ago, from the last Olympics. But I agree. I mean, to me, there would be almost nothing better than to stand up on that platform and represent your country if you've done well. Or even just walk in the opening ceremonies is such a unique experience from everyone I've talked to who's done it.
Yeah, I mean, and I completely agree with you. And that's why, you know, it was a very hot button topic on whether the Olympics were going to go forward. But for the athletes, at the very least, I am glad it went forward, because if they would not have postponed them again. If they didn't go forward now, they were going to be canceled. Yeah. And part of that is because the Winter Olympics are next year.
Right, you can't do it. I mean,
logistically, that's impossible. I mean,
it's all about money, though, right? I mean, that's why there's too much money involved to cancel it. The athletes, of course, you want to do right by the athletes who this might be their last chance, but the money is too much.
The money. I think, if I remember correctly, so NBC Sports has the broadcasting rights. They signed a 7-year broadcasting rights deal. That was like a $23.7 billion broadcasting deal. Yeah, and the
crazy thing is, you're not entering that contract unless you know you're going to get that back in and then some.
Your ROI has to be pretty well guaranteed at that point to put in that kind of investment. Yeah. No, absolutely. And what's super interesting, I mean, again, kind of bringing into that technology piece, what is super interesting that a lot of people don't realize is going on right now is NBC Sports is shutting down their sports network.
Okay.
And the whole purpose of that is because they're trying to drive people to Peacock, their streaming platform. Okay. So they're no longer going to have NBC Sports as a broadcast network. All their sports that they have the air rights to are now going to be on Peacock. And that's kind of an interesting thing, like streaming.
Yeah, I don't know about
that. They've made that announcement, and like a lot, it's like the best kept secret to me.
Well, where did they lose? I mean, do they still have Sunday Night Football?
They're keeping some things. Some will be, they own the USA Network, so like they have a very big NHL broadcasting rights deal. Some of those will be on USA, but they're trying to drive traffic to Peacock, and with the Olympics. They actually anticipate that increasing their Peacock membership and viewership by like 30%.
That'd be interesting. So I mean, CBS, ESPN, ABC, that's where all the good sports, the major sports are. Fox is getting into some stuff too. I don't know. I'm not going to get Peacock just to watch NBC Sports. I don't think.
I was trying to even think of like what else is on. I think The Office is on there.
I want to watch the Jennifer Aniston show. That I heard was good.
Which one's that?
She's a newscaster. I think that's on Peacock. Actually, might be on Apple TV.
See, I don't even know.
I don't know the difference.
I'm like,
I got Netflix and Amazon Prime. That's what I got. What do you stream?
That I do HBO. HBO Max. I do Netflix. We do Hulu. We do Amazon Prime. Okay, I do a lot. I stream a lot.
Did you cut off cable?
Yes, but honestly, we probably have so many damn streaming platforms that like I may as well just pay for cable.
It's not. I mean, you're not saving a lot of money. You're not saving a ton of money. I talk about the things like people, they really blow stuff out of proportion, like the TV, gasoline, like the cost of it. It's like less than $5,000 a year, right, or $2,000 a year.
Oh yeah, I mean,
to have exactly what you want, it's a pretty good. I mean. Look, not everyone can afford it, so we're very lucky to be able to say, like, okay, it's only $2,000, $3,000, but I'm not going to change my habits over $3,000 for almost anything over the course of a year. Gas,
for a year.
TV, over the course of a year.
You look at how that's spread.
Yeah, I'm not going to change my habits for any of that, but it's just it's like it's the appearance of it, it's the perception really that drives a lot of things too. Perception is greater than reality in a ton of things, whether it's. I mean, you're in that with the metrics too, and I mean, I talk about immeasurable data and funny math. You know, like two people looking at the cup and one saying it's half full and one saying it's half empty, and they're both right.
They are, and I will tell you, like one of the big things that we've been seeing like across the board is like that data analytics component of like how people are looking at their fan bases and their memberships, like. Data analytics, it's not funny math, but the way you can present your membership, how that breakdown looks, just based on what we call it, the metadata that we're tagging, can look so different. And it can be the same membership body. So it's very interesting to see, like, to your point, funny math is a good way to put it. But no, I mean, it has been such a wild ride being in the sports industry and on the technology side of it, like going through COVID and seeing like how that impacted all of these organizations. Like I never thought I would have been doing what I'm doing right now. Two, I never thought I would have like seen this whole past year and a half and like what the sports industry has gone through. I mean, but yeah, so I was actually thinking too, one thing I wanted to bring up is I know sports technology, particularly in events and like what you're doing. I think people both over and underestimate the impact it has, but like it really kind of created the market for Ticket Time Machine.
Oh yeah, that's exactly
because
why
people missed those tickets. If it wasn't for the fact that we all just now have to be married to our phones,
COVID kind of accelerated it, but it was headed that way anyway. Steven Jurgella would like to be he was actually, him and Eric Cusson of Same Here. Steven is the Same Here CEO. They were actually the first people. I don't even know if it was the Wolff Den back then. I'm not even sure we had a name. I think we talked about it. So we'll get Steven back on the Wolff Den.
Awesome.
Great advocate for mental health. But yeah, COVID kind of accelerated the process, but it was heading that way. And so when I first came up with the idea, it was, to keep the printed memory alive, not trying to convince anyone to use printed tickets for admission, but to offer something for the fans. And data analytics and fan engagement, all that, I mean, it's very important for what we do. The problem that I see, and I have a technology, a data background when I worked at LexisNexis, is most organizations have bad data, okay? And then the other problem they have is when they have good data, they don't know what to use it to, how to use it. They're using it wrong. So that's the two common problems that we used to solve at LexisNexis with a data cleanse and then kind of analyzing the analytics, which is very important to do, because the analytics are not always right. They evolve, right? There's a lot of them are sort of, they're man-made. I use the word man, but they're entered by a human to create
human error. I mean,
AI.
It's data entry. There's going to be a pretty significant degree of actually error when it's being entered by people. Yeah. And it's funny that you say that, because you're completely right. And that's one of the biggest things. There's a lot of organizations, obviously, while we are very fortunate that things are rebounding, a lot of organizations' budgets were very severely impacted by COVID. So our kind of what we've really been focusing on, I would say probably in the past like 6 to 8 months, is doing the most for them as fiscally efficiently as we can. And like, to your point, a lot of these organizations have these massive valuable data mines that they inadvertently have actually amassed, but they're just not doing anything with them. And so that's a really big thing that we come in and we really we take a holistic approach when we go to an organization. Like I said, we don't, obviously if you need a registration system for your events, we can provide that for you. But it's also looking at their ecosystem as a whole. Like, how does this then impact all the things downstream? What is the user experience? What is the back-end administrative impact? Like, really looking at that, because so many organizations have these incredibly valuable databases that they just literally were not doing anything with. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, you have a gold mine. Why aren't you doing anything with it? Let me help you.
Yeah, I have. So there was a partner, not to be named. And after the event, I said, can you send an email out to everyone who ordered the event? And I didn't even get an answer from them. Like, we could have sold, I mean, they had a lot of people. I'm talking 500,000 people tune in, and they didn't even answer me. I'm like, if you just, all you gotta do is an automated email. And I don't like automation, but I think it has its place. But now you look at the data that I have, we go on a trip every year. My friends that I grew up with, we go to Major League Baseball, college football, and pro football. This is going to be our 20th year. Last year was supposed to be our 20th, but we skipped it. And so I'm in charge of tickets buying, and so I bought tickets from the Cleveland Browns and the Minnesota Twins and SMU, and I keep getting emails all the time from them. They should probably understand that I was like a one-time buyer.
Yeah,
I'm not the right person, but they don't care because it doesn't matter. It's automatic, and I could probably unsubscribe if I want to.
You can opt out.
Yeah, but there's still a better way to target people with the data that you have.
Such a better way. And to your point, like, people are a lot of times are too late because you probably keep getting those emails because you just haven't taken the time to unsubscribe.
I just never know. I throw them in a folder or delete them.
And that's what most people do. But like, you have all these people at your fingertips that you can reach out to. Like, even little things, like a lot of organizations is like auto renewals for their membership.
Yeah.
You know, a big thing that we do. And so we have a member registration platform that a lot of NGVs utilize. And we, both in our event registration and membership registration platforms, we have like a forgot cart feature, kind of like on Amazon, where if you went to register for a tournament event, you know, to renew your membership and you stopped halfway through, you'll get a reminder email. It's like,
yeah, I got those one today. Did you forget something? But then I keep getting it. So then I'm like, you're going to force me to unsubscribe? Like, I think part of the reason I didn't finish it is because you didn't offer me, like, the price was too high or whatever. So if you're going to send me a reminder, send me a 5% off or, you know, free shipping or something. That would get me back.
And that's a great point, actually.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, make me want to come back and do it. You know, make me, like, what's your value prop for me? Like,
yeah, I know I left that in my cart. Like, there's a reason why I did it. There's actually a funny, there's an organization, and I'm drawing a blank on the name, that they have a shopping thing where you kind of don't have to fill out all that stuff. One of the reasons why people don't buy stuff and complete the process because you got to enter your email and all this. So it's like a one click. Once you've registered for it, anyone who's using this, it automatically fills your stuff in. And there's a lot of automation online anyway right now. But I think they found that X amount of people, you know, leave stuff in the cart, and that's why they do it.
Well, and it's also the impulse buy too, because to your point, you made a great point of like, convenience is the biggest thing. Like, I will personally say I am so lazy. Like, if I have to go out of my way to do something and it's not like very easy, unless it's something I actually really need to do, there's like a chance I'm not going to do it. And I was, you know, having that conversation about, one, how easy is it to register for this event? How easy is it to enroll your kid, you know, for all these questions? And actually, Dominic Notar-Francesco, he's the VP of Consumer Product with the USL. So shout out, hey Dom. I know you had the chance to speak with him. Yeah. We were having a really great conversation with him, and he's a great guy. You should definitely have on as well. Super smart, very, very knowledgeable in the industry. He's been in sports forever. You know, the impulse buy and saying, like, when we're looking at utilizing revenue streams and merchandising, throw the merchandising gear for that event in the registration so you can just click it, throw it in there. You know, it's the impulse buy. It's how quick is it? Is it 1-2 clicks? Can you just throw that in there? Like, those are all the things that it does surprise me a lot of organizations are still not doing.
Yeah. I mean, Bed Bath & Beyond and TJ Maxx, and they all have you walk through that aisle. You walk through that aisle, and there's a ton of stuff. And everyone's probably bought something from those shelves at one point or another.
Without fail, I don't think I've ever gotten out of a TJ Maxx without, one, buying something in general, two, not buying something in that line. Like, I cannot help myself. I think I might not be allowed to go into TJ Maxx. I'm pretty sure if I bring home another throw pillow, my boyfriend Jordan will leave me. Also, hey sweetie, hi Jordan. No, it's so true. You put those things in there for the impulse buy, because they're not going to take their credit card back out again to buy the shirt later. Yeah. They'll have it already out and they'll buy it then.
Yeah, you're always better off to buy it when you're buying it, buy everything instead of coming back.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. So, question for you then. Technology is very broad. Sports technology, like that question that you asked me in the beginning, like, what is that? That is like the number one question I get when I tell people what I do. Oh, I'm in sports technology. They're like, tell me more. What did you think about it? When you hear sports technology, like, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
That's a good question. I don't.
Did you have any idea where to start?
No, probably like the analytics stuff, like small ball, money ball, that type of stuff. If it's sports, that's probably where my mind went.
Because I'm always curious about that, because I kind of do generally get that like blank stare of like, okay, what's that? When I tell people what I do, and I'm just curious. I really don't think people realize like how much technology is involved in sports now.
I think it's better to say the intersection of sports and technology instead of sports technology, because it could be like, a product that helps you pitch better or shoot, that type of stuff.
And that's a very, very good point because, and I saw your phrasing on that. I'm definitely going to steal that. I'm going to have to credit you on that because I think you make a great point there. Because sports technology, to your point, it could be wearables, it could be fabrics, it could be performance gear, it could be, training, tools that they're doing. And that is a very, very good point. There is a couple of really cool companies. NBC Comcast does a sports tech day, and I'd highly recommend checking it out. But there's actually a couple really cool companies that are doing a lot of things in sports technology. But to your point, it's not on the digital space, how I would traditionally do it. There's a lot of tools and things. Although I will say I want to shout them out. It's called Q. There is an amazing app, and honestly, I thought it was just the most brilliant idea. And because this was like a little mom and pop idea that the Q. I have to shout them out. So there was a small golf course. They had a development company. They were having a huge issue with their tee times getting backed up because people were showing up late, checking them in for carts. So they basically created an app that you could scan a QR code on your phone and it would unlock the cart for you. That way you don't have to go and get keys, whatever. And it was an elegant solution to a very common problem that a lot of golf courses have. I think it's in over 1,000 courses now. And actually, NASCAR just partnered with them because one of the biggest event day issues NASCAR has is their golf carts. Because what does a drunk person love? Stealing golf carts. People would lose the keys to them. Drunk people would leave the keys in them, and drunk people would steal them. That was a massive event day logistics issue for NASCAR. So they partnered with them. So now everyone who works for NASCAR, you don't have to worry about someone lost the keys to the golf cart, or someone had 17 Bud Lights and tried to steal the golf cart, or someone left the keys in it and they're gone. And I just think that's so cool that it was this small idea for a simple problem that is now being applied in this massive organization. So it's just it never ceases to amaze me how technology works that way. Where I'm sure they never thought they would end up partnering with NASCAR.
Right. No, it's a good partner. Sounds like a good fit for them. Technology is great. I mean, when the pandemic hit, it's great and it's terrible all at once. I mean, there's but when the pandemic hit,
it's a little creepy. I'll be honest. Working in the industry, I am regularly freaked out. Even having been in this industry my entire professional career, I'm constantly freaked out with how much information people don't realize that is being gathered about you all the time. And I kind of get a kick out of the COVID vaccine. They're trying to microchip us. I'm like, you're already microchipped.
Yeah, I mean, I get a nice laugh out of the people who are worried about someone getting your information. They have your information.
They have all of it.
They have them. All the bad people have it. The good people, they
know your favorite color. Yeah. They know the street you grew up. They know everything about
everything.
You. They know how you
I had access to everyone's information when I was at LexisNexis. I mean, you couldn't use it for personal things, but those are the types of data that we would sell. It's all public in the public domain, and then you have some other stuff. Yeah, open source. But there's a product at this. This is Cater Source, and we're at Cater Source and special event. This is a trade show, but they had a couple of night events. And there's a company called Snap My Photo, where they take your picture, and then they enter your phone number. You click the picture, enter the phone number, and every other picture from that event recognizes if you're in it, and it sends all your pictures to one link, which is pretty cool. But I also I was standing sideways in the background of someone's picture, and it picked up me.
Wow.
Which is pretty good. It was probably looking at my shirt, color schemes. It's not just a facial recognition. So that wasn't great because I wouldn't want that in there.
You're thank you for this unflattering photo of me. Your face way in the background.
Nothing worse if you're facing sideways behind someone and caught in a picture.
It could only have been worse if you were mid sneeze. That is the only way that could have been even worse.
Look, but technology is great. I talk about two companies that really stood out in my mind for technology. Digideck, a company called Sports Digit, and digideck. I don't know if you're familiar with them. Really, just top of the line stuff for presentations. And then ROI Shop is a technology. It's just what it says ROI, but it's in a different world than just anyone can put an ROI. Again, funny math. I could say, oh, okay, if you do this, X times X, but they really have it. So it's in the hands of the person you're talking to, and they're the ones who can kind of use the tool.
Yeah.
It might be useful for you because I think you talk to you guys live in the ROI space a little bit. The analytics.
I mean, I have to, if I'm going to someone and saying, it's going to cost, and now I will say, I mean, we've done some very high value custom projects. We have product platforms that are extremely affordable. One of the big reasons that we do that is because we do want to allow these NGVs, particularly the smaller NGVs, to have that opportunity to grow their membership and to give them the same tools that these larger organizations have. And it's kind of like these organizations, it's the same as money. It's almost like to get rich, you have to be rich. The big organizations continually grow because they have all these resources to grow their membership. So we do that. Like, regardless, if they're spending any amount of money, I've got to tell them why it's worth it. They're not just spending money for no reason. I've got to show you, like, what is the value in this? Why do you need to, that was, I think one of the more interesting conversations I had was there was a large organization we work with that did not have a mobile app, and their member registration was still being done like on paper, mailed in, or scanned and emailed. And I'm like having to explain to them, like, busy parents want to be able to re-enroll their kids while they're in line at Publix. Busy parents want to be able to do that while they're in line for the carpool. And having to show them, like, I guarantee your enrollment will go up if you make this easier, because what happens is someone forgets, they leave it on the kitchen table and never gets mailed in. That kid missed the season. So having to tell them, it might be a little bit expensive to build this app initially, but the return you're going to see is going to be huge.
Yeah, time is money. I was talking to my friend last night about the Richard Branson and Bezos going into space, and I'm like, to me, it seems like a big waste of money because it's like $5 billion just to do this, and you're going to spend all this money just so I can get from here to China quicker. I don't know if that return is. I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime, but it just seems like it's a rich person's venture.
It's almost like a novelty. It feels like a novelty to me. Yeah. That I'm like the practical application, like the practical use case of this is just like not there for me. I saw that. I was just like, y'all have too much money and we're bored.
Yeah,
like
they do. It could be used for so much better, so many better causes, I think.
That are immediate. I mean, hey, let's get some clean water up in Flint.
Yeah.
There's just
a lot that can be done.
Oh, there's just so much that can be. Because I agree with you. I think it's like you got to look at like what is going to be like the greatest common denominator benefiting the most people, like if you're going to spend that money. And I know that's hard for, sports organizations especially, it's hard for them to like decide where they're going to spend that money. But, I do think technology is a very big part of it. Yeah, like it's super interesting. And do you have any other questions about sports technology, like specifically? Happy to clear it here.
No, it's always good to hear more of a specific use case if you want to talk about some of the use cases that you've done.
Trying to think of some of like my favorite projects. We have done a lot of them. Yeah. It's funny, I swear sometimes like I'll forget that we did some. I think some of my favorite things we're doing right now, with our data analytics, we do a lot of legacy system modernization. We work largely with a lot of NGVs doing that. So I think probably my favorite type of project right now to work on is legacy system modernization, which for everyone who doesn't know what that means, a lot of organizations have all these segmented systems, different databases, all these different systems that are kind of just bouncing information through APIs or batching that out to one another. But it's very inefficient. You get a lot of redundancies, you get a lot of bad data, like you were saying. So kind of coming in and like cleaning up those organizations and really getting there like a nice streamlined tech ecosystem. But like in terms of the use case, like I said, we work very heavily with USA Hockey. We do a lot of work with USA Cycling. So seeing how well those platforms have gone, USA Cycling, we do their LMS, which is amazing. But The LMS and I would say legacy system modernization, those use cases are probably my favorite right now. We are transitioning more into the professional space. So I've had the opportunity, I can't name names on some of these, but I've had the opportunity to meet with some organizations. And it's crazy how the pros have a lot of the same problems that these amateur organizations have.
Yeah, of course.
Like, believe it or not, like I feel like you would think with all the additional like financial resources they have, that they still have these same problems.
So when I was in the software world, the goal is to have something that's sticky and also an all-in-one, so they don't have to go to someone else.
Yep.
A lot of advantages and disadvantages to that, because your product on some aspects might not be as good as the other one. So I might want to do two different ones because I want to have the best of both. But sometimes you need to have everything that, connects and integrates with APIs and stuff like that.
That's something I think we do really well, and obviously I'm biased, but I will brag on our team. Our CTO, Shri, he's incredible. He's brilliant. Our whole team is phenomenal. I will say the thing that we do very well is, one, we're tech agnostic, we're tech neutral. We will adapt to pretty much any environment if you have a standard language or preference that's already in place in your organization. We build everything. We do a lot of open source, which I know you're familiar with, and we build everything in open architecture. So even our product platforms, our off-the-shelf member management system, if you want to build a custom module in it, we can build that in it for you. So I think that's something we do very well. We are very good at being the one-stop shop for we can custom, even our product, we can customize. So I think that's something we do well, and I think it's something that differentiates us as a technology vendor. You're not going to have to go to like 5 different people. You're not going to have, a front-end system, a back-end system, all these different things. You don't have to then have a whole separate scoring system. If you want to build us a scoring, we'll build you a scoring system and put it right in there, in native platform access. So
good.
I think that's probably, if I had to say one of our big differentiators, that would be something that I would say for sure.
That's a good thing to differentiate with. What do you find yourself gravitating towards a certain organization or company or group or sport? When I was selling tickets back in the day, I wanted to concentrate on the college. Do you have something that you concentrate on, or you kind of?
Ooh, I don't even want to answer that just because I don't want to play favorites.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's just it's what you know better. Some of that goes into it. Some of it could be it's just easier to access.
We have a tremendous amount of hockey experience. I love hockey, and I will say it's not that I didn't like hockey before. I had never really gotten that into it. I'm a Florida native. Hockey. I mean, we've got
Florida's the hockey capital of the world now.
It is now, but I mean, growing up for me, it was never something that was. I mean, hey, go Lightning! But it wasn't that big of a presence, in my life. I grew up a diehard football fan. I grew up a big Magic fan, watching, NBA basketball. But since I have been with Integrass Sports, and we work with the American Collegiate Hockey Association. We work with AHI, with USA Hockey. We work with a lot of hockey organizations. I feel like at this point, I do gravitate towards them because I've learned so much and now know so much about the sport. And a lot of people in it. And I will say I'm very lucky that I honestly can say every person I've worked with in the organizations we partner with, they're all amazing. I mean, you're in the sports industry all the time. It's overall, on average, a really great group of people to work with. I don't think I've ever not enjoyed working with some people, but I'd probably say hockey just because.
I'll introduce you to some.
Yeah, listen,
I meant the people you don't want to work with.
You know what?
I'll introduce you to the people you do want to work with too, but I got plenty.
I'll let you keep those. Give me the ones you do want to work with.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
No, if anything, I'm the pain in their ass. So
it has to be. You get to do it right. If you're agreeable on everything, there's no way, because you need to, you also need to delegate and you need to trust the experts, but you need to be a pain in the ass. And I do that for my customers. I got to make sure everything's right so they don't have to deal with the other people.
100%. It's like, and that's what's always hard too, is explaining to someone who is non-technical, like, yes, we have to do it this way, even though you don't want to, or no, we can't do it that way, even though you do want to. Like, trying to make that, like, I swear I'm not just trying to piss you off. I swear I'm not trying to be difficult. we really just you have to do it this way. That's always a fun conversation to have. But no, I will say my time at Integrass Sports has really made me a big hockey fan.
Good.
So I think I gravitate towards hockey.
What was the last event you've been to? Have you gone to events again or?
Ooh, in terms of like a networking event, I had
like a sports or I mean, if you're going back for work, I'd like to hear about that too.
We are. What's the last sporting event I went to? Actually, I went to. Actually, had the opportunity to go to a Rays game with Dom. Francisco with the USL. He had some tickets, and I actually think I went to a Rays game back in May.
Okay.
So but I did get to go to a Rays game. They were only at, I think, like a quarter capacity.
Right.
At that time, it was pretty early in May. But yeah, I think that was the last one. The first one I think I went to since COVID happened, actually, and that was the most recent. What about you? What was your first post-COVID lockdown? What was your first event?
Yeah, I mean, last year I went to a couple of Gator games, football and basketball, at reduced capacity with a mask on. I went to my first concert last weekend. I'm at this conference here. I got the bowl season conference next weekend. Starts next, like maybe 10 days, a week or so away.
Where's that at?
That's in Scottsdale.
Very cool.
We're going to meet with all the bowls and the people associated with the bowls, so I'm excited about that. And then I got a ton of sports coming up. Yeah, a lot of. I'll wear a mask inside if I feel crowded, but outside I'm fine, and I'll have to kind of just be careful and be smart until if hopefully nothing happens again where they got to shut this down, because we're starting to get some traction, with work. And,
exactly. We're finally getting back there and actually having some events moving forward. Yeah. I'm trying to think. We're starting to do some traveling and things. USA Hockey actually does their winter congress down here in Florida because they're based in Colorado. And I always tease them, like, y'all are just looking for an excuse to come to the beach. Like, it's cold and they want to come down here. So they are doing that in December. And
my friend Jackie is involved with the USA street hockey, women's street hockey. So with it's not street, it's the ball, not the puck.
Oh God, that falls under USA Hockey's umbrella.
Does it?
I don't know if I've had the chance to meet her. I tend to work. There's certain kind of like tech and strategy team, but they're a pretty big organization. They've got like a good number of people who work there. They're like pretty big. Their office is super, super cool. They are right next to the Olympic Training Center. So like they've got this amazing office and like they're literally right next to it. Which is incredible. Like I got a tour of the training center one time and I was like, this is amazing. Again, ways my job is really cool. I was just standing in the Olympic Training Center like, what?
What have you been to Olympic Games?
I have not. I have not been to the Olympic Games. I would love to, if given the opportunity. I was hopeful to maybe try to do Tokyo this year, but obviously those dreams were crushed pretty
LA, 2028.
2028 LA. That would be, I mean, realistically, I'm kind of like, I'm going to that. Because I got to go see FSU win a national championship in Pasadena. So I've done that. I've been to Super Bowls. I've been to, a lot of I've been to the World Series and like Olympics. I got to get it on there. It's like a bucket list sports event for me.
Yeah. Olympics is bucket list. I was going to ask bucket list always, we always like that. Masters, Olympics. That's really the top. Maybe Kentucky Derby.
See, I've been to the Belmont, have not been to the Kentucky Derby. Question for you.
Belmont's more of a party, right?
Oh.
Although they all are big
Listen,
parties.
as long as you're wearing
Belmont
a big
gets a lot more rowdy. It's a lot less proper.
Yes, it's definitely a lot less like bougie. Did UF ever win a national championship when you were, I don't know what year you graduated?
Yeah. I graduated in 98. We won, if you'll remember, in 96 in New Orleans. We beat a team called Florida State, 52-20.
Oh,
and won a national championship.
Well, here, I'm going to age you here. So I graduated in 2015.
Yeah, you're a youngster.
And I had but I last minute, we were broke college kids, and I think we scrapped together every bit of money we could, and we went to Pasadena.
Is that
and
Jameis?
got tickets. Jameis went, and we got tickets, and we went, and we got to go, and that was my senior year. So, to get to go and see FSU win a national championship my senior year, I was like, that was a like lifelong amazing sport memory. Like,
oh, it's unbelievable.
The way the stadium feels, like,
it's just a great feeling.
I heard from a lot of my friends who are back in Tallahassee, like there was a bunch of shit on fire in the street.
Yeah, it's last night in Milwaukee got nuts. There was like 150,000 people in the street just going by. I mean, they hadn't won in 50 years. You figure it sounds about right.
Talk about the most Florida thing ever. If you saw the lightning parade when it's like a damn hurricane, they've still got them like, listen, Florida.
Yeah, well, look, I would celebrate in a storm for my team. I think
I would too.
We'll find out. Give me your Mount Rushmore of sports for you. Your four favorite athletes, any sport. Just who's your favorite?
That is a very good question. Look, I'm an Olympic, not just because the Olympics won Simone Biles, because I'm 100% sure she's a superhuman. Yeah. I'm not even convinced that she is a human. I'm like, you are like too good. Simone Biles, Serena Williams, Drew Brees, also a very, very nice guy. I would say Drew Brees and probably, I don't want to say Tom Brady because it's just so like.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people pick him. Sometimes it's
I'd probably go Gronkowski.
Gronk?
I'd go Gronk. Right. Probably like some of my big four, like on the spot. What are yours?
I had Elway. I actually had something done. Elway, Gretzky, and Dale Ellis in basketball. And then I put Ken Griffey Jr. and Bo Jackson. Like those are. I had an art piece done by a fan artist, which I love. I love fan art. Do you have a favorite memorabilia or collectible from events that you've been to?
I do. I have one of Tiger Woods' golf balls from Masters, which is very cool.
Did you get it signed?
It is not, but I do have it's not I have a Jameis Winston football from the year that we won. I've got a couple. I feel terrible. I couldn't tell you the names of them. My grandfather collected baseball cards. My brother has them now. But we have this amazing collection of baseball cards in the family that I don't know where it is, but that's probably mine. So what's yours? Obviously, sports.
My dad got baseballs from like the 46 or 8 Dodgers. It's got Jackie Robinson on them.
No way.
Yeah, I never sell them, so it doesn't matter what they're worth, but they're probably worth a few pennies.
They're priceless. Like that's a priceless piece.
If I had to grab something, those would be the first things I grab. But
you can't. Those are irreplaceable. Like
I got so much. I got so much. I got more stuff than I have room to display it and put it, which is a problem that I'm trying to fix and figure out what I have to give away and what I can sell and what I might have to put in storage. But it's a good problem to have. I have I love a lot of the stuff I have that means something, and some is just cool stuff related to music and movies and sports.
Happy to take it off your hands.
Yeah, you might have to. We'll let you out of here. The same question we let everyone go with. You got pick one person you could spend a day with. They have to be living, and you can't be related to them. Who are you going to pick, and what are you guys going to do? We're putting a list together, and we've already done some outreach for some of the names to see if we can make it happen for our guests.
Honestly, if I could spend
Spend the day with anyone.
See, I feel like I'm going to go with Serena Williams.
Serena. Okay. Funny story. I was at July 4th. We were at my wife's friend's sister's house, and they are next door neighbors to Serena and Venus's father, Richard. Right? Is Richard Williams? Yeah.
Yes,
So we're right next door. They weren't out and about, but so I might have to enlist her to kind of make.
See,
that
I
happen.
think it'd be Serena Williams, and I would like.
Would you play tennis with her?
Oh hell no! I don't have a death wish. It would burn a hole through my head. Like, absolutely not. Honestly, no. I think I would. I'd love to just. I'd love to go like a football game with Serena Williams. Like, I'd like to go. I'd like to go watch a sport with her that she doesn't have to play, because I feel like she's like always playing or giving interviews. Yeah. Like, want to be like, hey, girl, you want to go get some hot dogs and go watch a baseball game? Like,
yeah,
I'd like
that'd be fun.
A baseball game with Serena Williams.
It's on the list. She's one of the greatest athletes of our generation.
Amazing.
I hope that she can finish her career strong, because she's kind of struggling now, and she's weighing and balancing injury and motherhood and all of that good stuff. But I'm hoping she can win a few more before she calls it quits. And
I think she's got some more great. She's the go, man. I think she's got some in her.
I think she does. So anyway, tell everyone how they can get in touch with you and how they can help. And really appreciate your time here today.
Absolutely. And Matt, thanks so much for having me. Always a pleasure to talk to you. And it was great to be here in the Wolff Den. It was amazing. And everyone, again, my name is Lindsey Roberts. I'm with Integrass Sports. You can reach us at www.integrasssports.com. That's INTEGRASSSPORTS.com. Anytime, reach out, sports tech questions, interests, comments, concerns. If you're part of an organization, we'd love to help you. And again, Matt, this was awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah, we got another episode coming up tomorrow in the Wolff Den, probably back at my home office, but it was great to do this live from Cater Source in the special event trade show floor. Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Lindsey.
Thanks, guys.